Have you ever been so fed up with someone using you that you finally snapped in the most public way possible? I never thought a single dinner would be the moment I finally stood up to my sister, but sometimes you reach a breaking point in the most unexpected places. My name is Lily Brown. I am 29 years old, and I work as an accountant at a mid-sized firm in the city. I have always been the responsible one in my family, the person everyone calls when they need something done, when they need money borrowed, or when they need someone to clean up their mess. My older sister Hannah Johnson has made a career out of taking advantage of that fact, and for years I let her do it because I thought that was what family was supposed to do. Hannah is 33, 4 years older than me, and she has always been the charming one, the beautiful one, the one who could talk her way into or out of anything. Where I spent my 20s building a stable career and saving money, Hannah bounced from job to job, relationship to relationship, always convinced that her big break was just around the corner. Our parents passed away 6 years ago in a car accident, and since then it has just been the two of us. I thought losing them would bring us closer together, but instead it seemed to give Hannah permission to lean on me even harder. The pattern started small. She would forget her wallet when we went out for coffee, and I would cover the bill. Then it was groceries when she was short on rent money. Then it was actual rent when she lost another job. I kept telling myself it was temporary, that she would pay me back, that this was what sisters did for each other. But Hannah never paid me back, not once in 6 years. She would promise to, would swear she would give me the money as soon as her next paycheck came in, but somehow there was always another emergency, another crisis that required her to spend that money on something else. I started keeping track about 3 years ago. It was an accountant thing. I could not help myself. I had a spreadsheet hidden on my laptop that documented every loan, every forgotten wallet, every dinner I had paid for while Hannah ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. The total was sitting at just over 11,000 euros, and that was not even counting the countless hours I had spent helping her move apartments, co-signing for a car loan, or listening to her complain about her latest terrible boyfriend. But I kept doing it because she was my sister, my only family, and because some part of me was afraid that if I stopped, I would lose her too. That changed on a Friday night in late September. Hannah called me on Thursday afternoon, her voice bright and excited in that way that usually meant she wanted something. I was at my desk finishing up a quarterly report when my phone buzzed. "Hey Lily," she said when I answered. "I have amazing news." I saved my work and leaned back in my chair. "What is it?" "I met someone," she gushed. "His name is Daniel Carter and he is incredible. He is a corporate lawyer, he is handsome, he is successful, and I really think this could be serious." I felt the familiar mix of happiness for her and worry about what this meant for me. "That is great, Hannah. I am happy for you. I want you to meet him," she continued. "Tomorrow night, dinner at La Bella Vista. My treat." That last part should have been my first warning sign. Hannah never offered to pay for anything. But I was tired from a long week and honestly touched that she wanted me to meet this new guy. "Sure, that sounds nice." "Perfect," she said. 8 o'clock. "Where's something nice? This place is fancy." She hung up before I could ask any more questions. La Bella Vista was one of those restaurants where the menu did not list prices and the waiters wore suits that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. I had been there once before for a work function and remembered feeling completely out of place. It was not really my scene. I preferred casual neighborhood spots with good food and reasonable prices, but if Hannah wanted to impress her new boyfriend, I could play along for one night. I showed up 5 minutes early wearing a navy blue dress I had bought for client meetings and my good heels. The restaurant was all low lighting and white tablecloths, the kind of place where people spoke in hushed voices and every fork had a specific purpose. A hostess who looked like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine led me to a table near the window where Hannah and Daniel were already seated. Hannah looked stunning, as always. She was wearing a red dress that probably cost more than she made in a month, her dark hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless. Beside her sat a man in his mid-30s with neat brown hair, sharp features, and an expensive watch that caught the light as he stood to shake my hand. "You must be Lily," Daniel said with a warm smile. "Hannah has told me so much about you." "All good things, I hope," I said, sliding into my chair. "Only the best," he assured me. "She says you are the responsible one." Hannah laughed and reached over to pat my hand. "She is. I do not know what I would do without my little sister." The waiter appeared with menus and a wine list. Hannah immediately ordered a bottle of wine that I knew cost at least 80 euros. I had seen it on the menu during my previous visit. Daniel did not even blink, just nodded approvingly. I ordered water. The first course came and went. Daniel was charming and attentive, asking me about my work and seeming genuinely interested in accounting, which was unusual. Most people's eyes glazed over when I talked about financial statements and tax codes. He told us about his job at a prestigious law firm downtown, about a big case he had just won, about his plans to make partner in the next 2 years. Hannah gazed at him adoringly throughout, touching his arm, laughing at his jokes, playing the perfect girlfriend. I should have been happy for her. This Daniel seemed like a good guy, successful and stable, exactly the kind of man Hannah needed. But something felt off. Hannah kept making little comments throughout the meal, subtle digs wrapped in jokes that only I would understand. "Lily has always been so practical," she said at one point. "Even as kids, she was the one saving her allowance while I spent mine on fun things." I forced a smile. Someone had to be responsible. The food kept coming. Appetizers, entrees, desserts. Hannah ordered the most expensive items on the menu, of course. Lobster risotto for her appetizer, the wagyu steak for her main course, a chocolate soufflé that took 20 minutes to prepare for dessert. Daniel ordered generously too, and I stuck with the pasta and a small salad, very aware that my own meal was going to cost nearly 60 euros. We were just finishing dessert when it happened. "Oh no," Hannah said suddenly, her hand flying to her purse. "You have got to be kidding me." "What is wrong?" Daniel asked, concern crossing his face. "My wallet," she said, her voice rising slightly. "I think I left it at home. I was switching purses this afternoon and I must have forgotten to move it." She turned to me with wide, apologetic eyes. "Lily, I am so sorry. Do you think you could cover this? I will pay you back as soon as we get home, I promise." The table went silent. Daniel looked uncomfortable. The waiter was approaching with the check. And I felt something inside me snap. This was it. This was the scam. Hannah had never planned to pay. She had brought me here to this expensive restaurant with her new boyfriend so she could look generous and successful, and she had always intended to stick me with the bill. The worst part was she was doing it in public, in front of Daniel, counting on the fact that I would be too embarrassed to make a scene. I looked at the check the waiter had discreetly placed on the table. 280 euros. I met Hannah's eyes. She had that pleading look she always got, the one that said, "Please do not embarrass me, please just go along with this." But this time I saw something else there too, a flicker of smugness, like she had already won. "Actually," I said slowly, "I think there might be a problem." Hannah's smile faltered slightly. "What do you mean?" I picked up the check and looked at the waiter, a distinguished man probably in his 50s with kind eyes. "Excuse me," I said. "Before we settle this, I need to ask you something. Did someone already provide a credit card for this table?" The waiter's professional mask slipped for just a second. His eyes darted to Hannah and then back to me. He seemed to be calculating something. "Why do not we discuss this privately?" he said quietly. "No," I said, my voice steady. "I think we should discuss it right here." Hannah's face had gone pale. Daniel was looking between us with growing confusion. The waiter cleared his throat. "A credit card was provided earlier this evening with instructions to process the payment after the meal was complete. However, the guest requested that it appear as though another party at the table had covered the expenses." The silence that followed was deafening. I turned to Hannah. "You gave them your card earlier, did you not? You were going to pretend I paid for this dinner so you could look generous in front of Daniel." Hannah's mouth opened and closed. "That is not, I was just trying to." "Trying to what?" I said, my voice harder now. "Trying to use me again. Trying to make yourself look good at my expense." Daniel had gone very still. He was staring at Hannah with an expression I could not quite read. Hannah tried to rally. "You are overreacting, Lily. I was going to tell you about it later. I just wanted Daniel to see that I could treat my sister to a nice meal. By making it look like I paid for it," I said flatly. "By once again taking advantage of the fact that I have never said no to you." I turned back to the waiter. Please split this check evenly 3 ways. Hannah grabbed my arm. Lily, please. Do not do this. Do what? I said, pulling away. Pay for my own meal. That seems pretty reasonable. The waiter nodded and disappeared. Hannah was frantically whispering something to Daniel, but he was not looking at her. He was looking at me with something that might have been respect. When the waiter returned with 3 separate bills, I handed him my card for my portion, €93.33. Daniel quietly paid his share. And then we both looked at Hannah. She was fumbling with her purse, her face flushed. I told you, I left my wallet at home. No, I said. You gave the waiter your card earlier, remember? Let us see if it works now. The waiter processed Hannah's card while she sat frozen in her seat. I knew what was going to happen before the machine even beeped. The waiter's apologetic expression said it all. I am sorry, he said quietly. This card has been declined. Hannah's humiliation was complete. Daniel was staring at her with dawning realization. The other diners were pretending not to watch but clearly listening to every word. Try it again, Hannah said desperately. The waiter tried. It declined again. I do not understand, Hannah said, but her voice was weak. There should be money in that account. Should there be? I asked. Or did you max it out buying that dress and getting your hair done for this dinner, planning all along to make me pay for everything? She did not answer. She could not. I will cover her portion this time, Daniel said quietly, handing his card back to the waiter. But then I think we need to have a conversation. The ride home was the longest 20 minutes of my life. I had taken a taxi to the restaurant and I took one back alone. My phone started buzzing before I even made it home. Hannah was calling, texting, leaving voicemails. I ignored all of them. When I finally got home and kicked off my heels, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my couch in the dark. My phone was still buzzing. I finally picked it up and started reading the messages. Most of them were from Hannah. Long rambling texts about how I had embarrassed her, how I had ruined her relationship, how could I be so cruel? But there was one message from a number I did not recognize. Hi Lily, this is Daniel Carter. I got your number from Hannah's phone while she was in the bathroom at the restaurant. I wanted to apologize for tonight. I had no idea what she was planning or that she had a history of taking advantage of you. What you did took courage and I respect it. I am sorry you were put in that position. Also, I broke up with her in the car on the way to her apartment. I do not date people who manipulate their family members. I hope you are doing okay. I read the message 3 times. Then I read Hannah's messages again. Not once did she apologize. Not once did she acknowledge what she had done wrong. Every message was about how I had wronged her, how I had made her look bad, how I had cost her a good relationship. I opened my laptop and looked at my spreadsheet. €11,312. 6 years of being taken advantage of. 6 years of being the responsible one while Hannah played the victim. I opened a new message to Hannah. I have been keeping track, I wrote. You owe me €11,312. That is 6 years of loans you never repaid, dinners you forgot your wallet for, rent money you promised to pay back. I am done. I am not giving you another cent. If you want a relationship with me, you need to start by acknowledging what you have done and making a real effort to pay me back. Not all at once, I do not expect that. But a real payment plan, in writing, that you actually stick to. Otherwise, we are done. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The response came 10 minutes later. You are really going to choose money over family. I am choosing self-respect over being used, I wrote back. The choice is yours. She did not respond. The next few weeks were hard. Hannah tried everything. She called our aunt, our cousins, mutual friends, painting me as the villain who had abandoned her in a time of need. Some people believed her. Some people told me I should forgive her because she was family. But a few people who had known us both for years, quietly reached out to tell me they were proud of me for finally standing up to her. Daniel and I ended up getting coffee 2 weeks after the restaurant incident. He told me that Hannah had tried to get back together with him 5 times, each time swearing she had changed, each time asking if he could loan her money for various emergencies. He had blocked her number after the 3rd attempt. She did this with her last boyfriend too, he told me. I ran into him at a bar and we got to talking. She borrowed 3,000 euros from him over 6 months and never paid back a cent. When he asked for the money back, she told everyone he was financially abusing her. I was not surprised. The pattern was clear now that I was looking at it objectively. A month after the restaurant incident, I got a check in the mail. 200 euros. No note, just a check from Hannah. A week later, another check for 200 euros. They kept coming, every week, like clockwork. She never called, never texted, never acknowledged what she was doing. But the checks kept arriving. I deposited each one and updated my spreadsheet. At this rate, it would take her over a year to pay back what she owed me, but it was something. It was acknowledgement, in her own way, that she had been wrong. 3 months after the dinner at La Bella Vista, Hannah finally called me. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. "Hi," she said. Her voice was different, quieter, less confident. "Hi," I said back. There was a long pause. "I am sorry," she finally said. "I am sorry for everything. For using you, for taking advantage of you, for making you feel like your only value to me was as a bank account. You deserve better and I was a terrible sister." I did not say anything. I was not sure I believed her yet. "I started therapy," she continued. "After Daniel dumped me and you cut me off, I kind of fell apart. I lost my apartment because I could not pay rent without borrowing from you. I had to move into a studio that is basically a closet. I got a second job waitressing on weekends. And my therapist helped me see what I was doing, how I was treating the people who cared about me. I am working on it. The checks, that is not charity, that is me trying to make things right. I know it is going to take a long time, but I want to pay back every cent." "Okay," I said. "Can we maybe get coffee sometime?" she asked. "Not at anywhere expensive. Maybe just to dine near your apartment. My treat, and I mean actually my treat, I will show you my wallet before we even order." Despite everything, I smiled. "Sure, Hannah. We can get coffee." We met the following Saturday at the diner, a little place with cracked vinyl booths and the best pancakes in the city. Hannah showed up in jeans and a sweater, her hair in a ponytail, no makeup. She looked tired but more real than I had seen her look in years. She bought me coffee and we talked. Really talked, for the first time in as long as I could remember. She told me about her therapy, about how she was learning to understand why she felt the need to constantly impress people, to pretend to be someone she was not. She told me about her 2 jobs, how exhausting it was but how good it felt to actually earn her own money. "I do not expect you to forgive me right away," she said. "I know I have burned through your trust. But I want to rebuild it, if you will let me." "I want that too," I said. "But things are going to be different. I am not going to be your backup plan anymore. I am not going to loan you money. If you need help, real help, we can talk about it, but the days of forgotten wallets and emergency rent money are over." She nodded. "I understand. And I agree. That is fair." It has been 8 months since that dinner at La Bella Vista. Hannah has sent me a check every single week without fail. She is up to about 6,500 euros paid back. We have coffee every other Saturday at the diner. Our relationship is not what it was, but maybe that is a good thing. What it was before was not healthy. This new version, where we are honest with each other and respect boundaries, is harder but better. She got a promotion at her main job last month. She called to tell me about it, excited and proud, and did not ask me for anything, just wanted to share her good news. It was the first time in years that a call from Hannah had not filled me with dread. As for Daniel, we stayed in touch. We are not dating, we are just friends, but he has become a good friend. We get drinks sometimes and talk about work and life. He told me once that watching me stand up for myself that night at the restaurant taught him something about not accepting bad behavior from people just because you care about them. He had his own patterns of being taken advantage of that he needed to break. Looking back, I wish I had stood up to Hannah sooner. I wish I had not let it get to the point where I had loaned her over 11,000 euros before I said enough. But I also know that I did what I thought was right at the time. I thought being a good sister meant always saying yes, always being there, always covering the check. I thought love meant sacrifice without limits. Now I know better. Love does mean sacrifice sometimes, but it also means boundaries. It means respecting yourself enough to say no when someone is hurting you, even if that someone is family. It means understanding that enabling someone's bad behavior is not the same as helping them, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to stop making things easy for them. That night at La Bella Vista, when I asked the waiter to split the check, I was not just standing up for myself. I was giving Hannah the wake-up call she desperately needed. If I had paid that bill, if I had swallowed my pride and anger one more time, she would have kept using me and kept spiraling further into her pattern of manipulation and irresponsibility. By saying no, by letting her card decline in front of her boyfriend and the whole restaurant, I forced her to face consequences for the first time in years. Was it embarrassing for her? Yes. Was it harsh? Probably. But it was also necessary. Sometimes you have to let people hit rock bottom before they can start climbing back up. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to stop catching someone when they fall. I still have the spreadsheet on my laptop. I update it every week when Hannah's check arrives. At the current rate, she will have paid me back in full by next spring. I do not know if our relationship will ever be what it was when we were kids, before our parents died, before money and responsibility and resentment built walls between us. But I think we are building something new, something more honest and more equal. And honestly, that is enough. I do not need Hannah to be perfect. I do not need her to become someone she is not. I just need her to respect me, to value our relationship enough to show up honestly, and to take responsibility for her own life. She is doing that now, slowly but surely, and I am proud of her for it. As for me, I learned that being the responsible one does not mean being the doormat. It does not mean saying yes to everything and everyone. It does not mean putting yourself last and everyone else first. Being responsible means taking care of yourself too, setting boundaries, standing up for what you deserve. That dinner cost me 93 euros and 33 cents, but it bought me something priceless. It bought me my self-respect back. It bought me a healthier relationship with my sister. It bought me the knowledge that I can stand up for myself even when it is hard, even when it means embarrassing someone I love, even when everyone is watching. The waiter who helped me that night, I went back to La Bella Vista a few months later and asked for him specifically. I wanted to thank him for being honest with me, for not going along with Hannah's plan. He remembered me immediately. "I am glad you came back," he said. "I have been in this business for 30 years and I have seen a lot of families try to impress each other with money they do not have. What you did took courage. I hope things worked out for you." "They did," I told him. "Thank you for your honesty." He smiled. Sometimes the truth is the kindest gift we can give someone, even when it does not feel that way at the time. He was right. That night, standing up to Hannah, asking for the check to be split, watching her card decline, it felt cruel. It felt like I was betraying her, embarrassing her, choosing money over family like she accused me of doing. But I was not choosing money over family. I was choosing honesty over enabling. I was choosing self-respect over being used. I was choosing a real relationship over a transactional one where my only value was what I could provide. And in the end, that choice saved us both. Hannah is not the same person she was 8 months ago. She is humbler, more genuine, more responsible. She works hard, she pays her bills, she does not pretend to be something she is not. Our coffee dates at the diner are more real than any fancy dinner we ever had, more honest than years of me paying her way while she played the victim. I am not the same person either. I am stronger, more confident, more willing to stand up for myself. I do not automatically say yes anymore. I do not feel guilty for having boundaries. I do not apologize for expecting people to treat me with respect. That night at La Bella Vista changed everything. One moment of courage, one decision to stop accepting the unacceptable, one choice to demand better. It cost me 280 euros in potential embarrassment, but it earned me back my self-worth. And that is a trade I would make again in a heartbeat. Looking at my life now compared to 8 months ago, I can see how much has changed. I am happier, lighter, less stressed. I do not dread my phone ringing anymore. I do not check my bank account nervously wondering how much Hannah is going to need this time. I go out to dinner with friends without worrying about someone sticking me with the bill. My relationship with Hannah will probably always be complicated. We have years of history, years of hurt, years of unhealthy patterns to work through. But for the first time in a long time, I have hope that we can be real sisters, not just an enabler and a user, not just the responsible one and the charming one. Just two women who care about each other and are learning how to show it in healthier ways. The checks keep coming every week. 200 euros, like clockwork. Hannah never misses a payment. And every time I deposit one, I think about that night at the restaurant, about the look on her face when her card declined, about Daniel's message apologizing, about the waiter who had the courage to tell me the truth. Sometimes one moment changes everything. Sometimes you have to choose yourself. Sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do. I learned all of that over a 280 euro dinner that I refused to pay. And I would not change a thing.